Which is better, Spotify or Pandora? Hey, what's up everybody? So, it's Friday. I'm not on the way to the lake like I normally would be. I've got a college graduation to go to, not my own, my friend's daughter. Kind of viewer is my daughter too. I love that girl. Anyway, so I'm going to the lake tomorrow, which makes me think, I have my Spotify playlist that I mostly listen to at the lake, and my buddy's gonna be up there, and he has his Pandora set up. So I'm on Spotify Premium, he's on Pandora Premium, and there are some differences in those two services. He prefers Pandora, I prefer Spotify, so let's take a look at them. Here's the thing, Pandora, I used to use Pandora a long time ago. Why? Because Pandora was leading the charge in music streaming. They just were. They're like 18 years old. They've been around forever doing this. And everybody else that was coming afterwards, like our iHeartRadio and other services, they were kind of copying Pandora, is what they were doing. Why? Because Pandora was the leader. And then they just kind of stagnated or something. I don't know what went on. Anyway, forever. They had a couple million songs in their music library and no real changes to anything. And so people moved on to other services, namely Spotify, which I would put as the current leader in music streaming services for many reasons. So Spotify is only about 8 years old, but man, they came on and just took control. They've got a huge library. I think Apple Music is the only streaming service, music streaming service, that has a larger library than Spotify. Now, let's back up a little bit, because Pandora is not still stuck at this point in time with only a couple million songs. They 2 or 3 years ago just bought Rdio, and that gave them a big boost, needed boost in their music library. And so now I think technically Spotify has more music in their library than Pandora does, but it's I'm not going to really count that. I'm not going to count it because probably the larger number is made up of, remixes and things like that. So as far as music library, I'm going to give that a tie between Spotify and Pandora right now. That's going to be a tie. So about the same music library. So kudos Pandora for doing a good job trying to catch up. But catching up is what they're doing. So these days, of course, social, everything is social media. So social features within Pandora aren't all that great. Of course, now that's not important to me, but it is important to a ton of people, so I have to cover it. So the social features in Spotify are spot on. They've got it going on. They know what they're doing, and there are a ton of ways you can share music with Spotify. Share your music on Spotify socially, on social media and all that kind of stuff. So Spotify's got to take that category. Pandora just doesn't. They're not there yet. I'd imagine they're going to get there soon, but they're not there right now. Now Spotify has a better, as far as free versions, Spotify has a much better free version than Pandora's free version. But once you start paying, and I'll add another caveat onto that. Once you start paying, so let's say Spotify Premium, which is about $10 a month, versus Pandora Premium, which is about $10 a month, the service is relatively equal, except in these other categories like social and things like that. So not much difference there, but Spotify has a better free version than Pandora. Now, the other caveat on there is Pandora had some good minds put in use there and offers a better free version, but a not quite as good as the premium version, called, I think, Pandora Plus, and it's only $5 a month. So really, in the cost, and Spotify doesn't have that option. They don't have anything like that. So in the cost category, I really got to give it to Pandora, because you can get a pretty decent music streaming service for half the cost than you can with Spotify. So price has to go to Pandora. As far as a user interface goes, Spotify, super polished, really intuitive, really cool, really functional user interface. Now Pandora's is not bad either, but I think Spotify probably edges them out. So in the big picture, it's all about really how you're going to use the services. I think actually also in music discovery, Pandora, that's what they do. That's what they started doing, and they have an uncanny way of doing that really well. With just a few initial actions, Pandora will start to put together music that they're pretty positive you're gonna like, and they're usually right on with it. And so as far as music discovery goes, while I really like Spotify's music discovery options, they've got like a Discover Weekly playlist. They put together playlists based on your listening history, so that you get music that you already like, and they'll mix in music that they think you like based on what you already like and what you're listening to. So they do a pretty good job with that. And now my music's all over the place, so it is literally all over the place, so they have a hard time. They put together, I noticed, playlists in different genres of music, and there's at least 6 different genres of music that I listen to, so they have to come up with 6 different playlists to try and figure out what I might like. So anyway, they do a pretty good job. Spotify does. They do a pretty good job at music discovery, but that is inherent to what Pandora does, and I'm not sure that anybody really does it better. So it's a pretty close call as far as Spotify versus Pandora. It's really going to come down to how you use the service. Now, as far as how I use a service, I'm giving it to Spotify. Sorry, Steve. It's going to Spotify, brother. Anyway, I'm sure I'll end up listening to your Pandora playlist plenty of times at the lake. So that's where I'm going. I'm giving the edge to Spotify. Why? Because even though Pandora is 18 years old, Spotify has been kicking it for 8 years, and Pandora has only been catching up for the last 2 or 3 years since they purchased RDO. So they've got a little bit of catching up, but they've done a good job of catching up, and they will continue to play that game. So it's anybody's game right now, but I'm giving the edge to Spotify. All right, people, I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.